one of the ways we want to do that is by getting you more intimately involved with the people who are in public office or running for public office. Anytime you have a chance to meet with a public servant or somebody running for public office, it gives you an opportunity to know firsthand what they think and how that can affect you. Instead of listening to the talking heads and the bloggers tell you what to think, you can decide for yourselves what the political environment is about, what affects you, and how you can make a difference. And for that reason, we'll be inviting many people here to the college to speak to us. If any of you are interested, the Capitol Club will be meeting this coming Sunday night at 5 p.m. in the B building here at the Henderson campus in room 207. But without any further ado, I'd like to present to you Joe Heck, who's a candidate for Congress. He's a former state senator and doctor, and he can tell you more about himself. And he'll be speaking to you, and then he'll open up for questions. Unfortunately, we have to be done at 10 minutes to 6 because there was a class coming in at 6. After all, we are school. Thank you.
Well, I certainly appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening and see so many people turn out. I was just commenting after going to the Capitol Club's website how high speed it seemed to be for a community college's website for a club. I mean, it's a lot of great information there. It's very well balanced, as was said. It's nonpartisan, offering both sides. So I was pretty impressed with the information there. I was told I have about 30 minutes to talk, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. I'm sure you don't want to hear me talk for 30 minutes. So I'll just go over some stuff, and I'd rather open it up to Q&A and hear what your questions are and what you have to say. So my name is Joe Heck. I'm an emergency medicine physician by training. I've lived in Nevada since 1992. Originally New York, through Pennsylvania, then here. Did all my undergraduate medical school and residency training in Philadelphia before moving out to Nevada. Been involved in public service for over 30 years, starting off as a rural volunteer EMT firefighter in northeastern Pennsylvania. Went into military service, continued to serve in the reserves, going on 19 years, 3 tours of active duty. Last one was last year to Iraq. Worked for 3 years in Washington, D.C. I moved out here in 92. I was recruited back to D.C. to work for the Department of Defense as a civilian in what was now known as Homeland Security. Back then, Homeland Security wasn't the phrase. But they were starting a new program in medical aspects, medical response to acts of terrorism. And because of my background, I was recruited to start that program for them in Washington. And so it was kind of in Washington where I got the bug to run for political office. If you've been to Washington, D.C., and you've walked around those halls and up and down the mall, and it's an incredible sight, and it's an incredible feeling. Just as you fly into Washington Reagan Airport, just the skyline that you see, for me anyway, gives me goosebumps and chills, and just makes you wonder, what a really powerful seat of government Washington, D.C. is. And the job I had there for 3 years was a great job. Doing a lot of policy work, got to know the inner workings of the Congress, get called to run down to Capitol Hill to do a briefing for my office, making PowerPoint slides on the metro, on the way going to do a briefing kind of thing. And I probably would have stayed there forever if it wasn't for my wife, who cried every day for 3 years that we lived in Washington because she absolutely hated it. And one morning she woke up and said, "Hey, I'm moving back to Vegas, you coming?" And so we came back. At the beginning, I kind of resented the fact that she made me leave what I thought was the dream job for the type of things that I wanted to do. But subsequently, I ran for state senate and was elected in 2004. So I figured, well, if she never made me leave Washington, I probably never would have ran for public office, and I never would have had that opportunity to serve. And so while I resented her in 2002, I wound up really idolizing her even more in 2004 when we won our first election, and I went to Carson City. Served in the Senate for 4 years, served on Commerce and Labor, which really is a wide variety of issues in this state. Served on Natural Resources, and that I always tried to figure out how I wound up on the Natural Resources Committee, because that deals with agriculture and water rights and grazing, and I'm from New York City. And so I asked, how did I wind up on Natural Resources? And they said, well, you left the meeting early, and we needed to put somebody else on that committee, so since you weren't there, we gave it to you. So I was on Natural Resources, Human Services and Education, and then I served as Vice Chair of Transportation and Homeland Security. So I had a pretty broad range of exposures while I was in Carson City. Wound up not being successful in my re-election bid in 2008, lost by a 0.5 percentage point. Lost the numbers that you remember, those 765 votes. That number I'll remember forever. 765 votes, less than a half a percentage point of the votes cast. So then you go back to Carson, tried to figure out what I was going to do next. Ran the whole list from everything to nothing, saying, okay, that chapter of my life is over. Let's go back to just being a husband and a dad and a doctor. But we wound up starting out in the governor's race and then moving to the congressional race. And that's where I am now, in Congressional District 3. And I think what I like to try to, what I hope I bring to elected office is somebody who's got some real world experience. I've done a lot of different things. As I was growing up, everybody would say, well, what are you going to be when you grow up? And I've changed jobs so many times that I don't really know. Although I'm a physician by training, and I still work in an emergency department at University Medical Center now. I have a company in Homeland Security, like all good government employees. You leave government service and you open up a consulting firm, doing what you used to do for the federal government, but now you do it on your own. And so I opened up a consulting firm in the medical aspects of Homeland Security. And so that's really what kind of pays the bills now. I'm a freelance consultant in Homeland Security. But doing that gave me the ability to know what it's like to own a business, a small business, and have employees, and make a payroll, provide health care benefits, make 401k contributions, all those things that I think are very important, especially in times like now, where our economy is suffering and we're seeing massive layoffs and huge unemployment spikes. So I've dealt with those issues. I think as a physician, I've worked as an educator, as an administrator, and as a provider. So I think I have a broad background in the healthcare industry to try to address some of the issues that we're seeing debated right now. In fact, I was the medical director for the colleges back then. It was the Community College of Southern Nevada. I was the medical director for the EMS programs back in the early to mid-90s when I first came out here and taught in the EMS programs over on the Charleston campus. And then being in the military and having worked for DOD, I think I have a good handle on national defense issues. Like I said, I hold the rank of colonel now. I command a unit. I command a battalion, what's called a battalion equivalent. So I've got about 700 people I'm responsible for. And in January, I'm moving to a new position, and I'm taking over a brigade equivalent, which puts me in charge of 3,000 people in 6 different states. Went to the Army War College, which is in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I graduated with a master's degree in strategic studies there. So I think I kind of have a better understanding of what's going on when it comes to national defense issues, especially when it comes to supporting our troops and our veterans. Little known fact, at no time since World War II have there been fewer people serving in Congress that have ever worn the uniform. And I think that when you're making decisions regarding going off to war and how you're going to support not only our active duty troops, but our veterans, that it pays to have somebody who's kind of done that job to know what the impacts really are, where the rubber meets the road. And it was interesting because you may have remembered or seen the paper back after the current conflict started. There was a lot of flack given to Walter Reed Army Medical Center about the poor care that they were providing and the conditions. Well, when I was in D.C., I did my clinical time in the emergency department at Walter Reed. And what it pained me to see Walter Reed being ripped apart when during the time I was there, they kept downsizing Walter Reed. Walter Reed was designed as a 1,000-bed hospital. When I was there, it was down to 200 beds. Then we went to war, and they expected them to flip a switch and go back to 1,000 beds. It can't happen. But yet we still had to take care of everybody who was coming back. So I think that the blame for what happened at Walter Reed wasn't on Walter Reed. It was on those that decided that Walter Reed needed to be downsized so significantly in such a short period of time through the 90s and into the early 2000s. So again, I think it's my background is healthcare, business, national defense. Believe it or not, my undergraduate degree, like I said, I didn't know what I was going to be. My undergraduate degree is in education. I thought I was going to be a teacher. And then I did my student teaching. And I said, there's no way I could be a teacher and be in this classroom 7 hours a day. And I was a health ed teacher. So my student teaching experience was teaching health education to 10th graders. And if you remember back in 10th grade health ed, what was it, back in my day, what was the big topic in that class? Sex education. I thought, there's no way I'm doing this for a living. So I decided to go into something less stressful and went to medical school. I thought it would be an easier way to make a living. So it's that educational background, I think, as well, that helped